Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the guy who loves making lists of scary stuff. It's Frank. How are you today?
Hey, I am spooked. I am spooked and scary. How are you, my friend?
I am also spooked and scary, but just not maybe in a different way than you are. Who's to say? And maybe at a different age with different stuff. Frank, it's a pleasure to see you, as always. For the people who are usually our audio listeners, this might be the first time that you're seeing our faces as we have transitioned into YouTube as well. So hello. We look exactly like all other podcasters, white and bearded. Here we are.
Pretty much,
but that's okay. You know, we are who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tim and Frank.
Yep, that's us.
Frank, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'd love to tell you about what I'm drinking, because I think you've had this before. I think you brought this to the show before. I am having a 101 Cider House Cactus Rosé. Is this not the one that you had? I guess I'm thinking of something else.
You might have been thinking of something else, but that looks good, and I'm interested. I like rosés. I like cactuses. I like fuchsia. I don't know. How is it? Tell me.
Sour.
Oh, that's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Sour is a very specific mood. You have to really want sour.
Yes, you have to really want sour. I'm not you know what? I'm not a particularly big fan of sour beers, but I do like sour foods. Like I love like Sour Patch Kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't avoid. In fact, I seek out sour, but for some reason I don't like. I'm not the biggest fan of sours as a style of beer, or like what's the other? Another style I can't think of right now. But anyway, yeah, the more sour kinds of beer and beverages, I'm not as big a fan of. This is I'm getting it's like the sourness is coming from the rosé, I think.
Bad grapes.
Although, you know what? No, I take that back. I think as I'm getting more of it says cactus, pear, basil, hibiscus, and lemon peel. So I think the lemon is definitely contributing to that. And probably it is cider, so probably the apples have some sourness to them too. But anyway, it's not bad. It's just not really my cup of tea, but that's okay. It's got 0 sugar. It is wild fermented and all that good stuff. So yeah. Maybe
would not have again kind of thing.
Not for me. This is one of Marissa's. So she's more. It almost reminds me of a kombucha, which I don't care for personally. So, but she does. So that explains why she had a bunch of these in the fridge. But I wanted to try something new, and you know what? I regret it. Don't try something new, kids. Stick with what you know.
I did stick with what I know.
Okay, what do you got?
So I don't think I've ever had this on the show, but this is just a Cisco Brewery Whale's Tail.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Look at that label.
I love it. Yeah, it's changed since the last time I saw it, actually.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So Cisco Brewery, or Cisco Brewers, is on Nantucket, Nantucket Island. But they kind of distribute locally off island around here. They're making their way uptown, as it were.
Yeah. They have a tap room here in New Hampshire.
Do they?
Yeah,
really,
very close to me. Yeah.
Is it good? Because the one around here is excellent.
It's awesome. The food is great. They have live music there a lot. It's a lot of fun. We'll go and and take our daughter, and she'll just like stand in front of the stage and dance. It's really cute. So it's a lot of fun.
That's great.
So yeah, it's awesome. I love them, and yeah, the food is actually very good.
Good. I'm glad to know that ours is not like an isolated goodness. I prefer that goodness gets.
Yeah, right. Providence, is that where the one near you is?
It's not.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Not in Providence, yeah. But just across the water from Nantucket, really.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Huh. Fun.
But anyway,
Fun.
Yeah, it's a pale ale. It's not on the. It's more on the wetter than drier side.
Yeah,
of pale ale. It's not too dry, which I appreciate. And so it's just smooth. It's a good drink. Although I don't think I've ever had a Cisco's that I've disliked.
Same.
I'm a Cisco fan.
Their stuff is all mostly pretty light, right? It's not super heavy for the most part.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that's really heavy now. That I'm not sure.
They're all pretty light. They have the Gray Lady wheat beer. I like a lot.
I love Gray Lady. Mm-hmm.
I think Whale's Tail is my favorite of theirs. I often Marissa always rolls her eyes whenever I order one when we're out, whether it's at the tap room or somewhere else, because I always say, "Could I get the Whale's Tail Pale Ale?" Because it's so much fun to say.
It's hard to say. It's like a little. It's like a Peter Piper picked his paper clips. It's
yes.
Not, the Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Nice. Where's the bell? There it is.
It's on your side of the screen. I don't know. So, Frank, to continue, or in the spirit of Halloween, we have a Halloween themed episode, and I asked you this very important question: could you come up with a list of things from media, any media, from when you were a child that scared you, regardless of whether it was supposed to be scary or not? And so I have my own list. I feel like after I made the list, I said, well, everything on here was probably at least supposed to be unsettling, if not downright scary. That's kind of how I landed. Some stuff is supposed to be scary, and I have stories attached to some of them and not to all of them, and I'm sure you are the same. So would you like to go first, sir?
Yes.
I ask as you take a sip of your beverage.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for waiting for that. I used to be quite scared of, when I was really little, actually, I was afraid of the Beast and Beauty and the Beast. I was terrified of that guy. And
I could see that.
Yeah.
He is supposed to be scary.
He is supposed to be scary. I'm talking when I was like 3. But also the reason this is significant is because it was also my favorite movie at the time. So I insisted on watching it. But he was scary.
It's like a classic. This is not me. My brother was like that. There's a Disney's old Peter Pan, Peter and the Wolf, not Peter Pan, Peter and the Wolf.
Oh, the cartoon one?
Yeah, and there's this bit where like the wolf is just steadily coming at the screen, like da, 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 da. It's got that kind of rhythm to it in the music, and that's the one. And he would just run out of the room, but that was the only one. And then he'd be back. It was just that moment.
Yeah.
And so
kids are funny that way. I can't wait to see what my kids' stuff is going to be like that. Like, what are the things that she insists on watching, even though she's terrified of them?
I have yet to find that with mine, because like even last night she was like, all right, let's watch Dracula. She's 3, for those of you who don't know, so she wants to watch Bela Lugosi's Dracula, and she's like, Dracula is so funny, look at his hand sticking out of that box. Okay. All right, right on. But if I showed her like Nightmare Before Christmas, she'd probably be like, this is scary. So, but I don't know what the delineating line is between why is this movie from 1931 okay, but I don't know, something else.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like because it being old and in black and white feels like less realistic than even like Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. There's also like this weird like kids acceptance of things where you're like, oh, Dracula sleeps in a box. You're like, okay,
sure.
You're going to just keep watching it.
That tracks.
Yeah, right. It makes sense. Yeah, right. But like that movie shows nothing, like literally nothing.
Yeah.
Creepiest part is people walking slowly.
Right.
right? And that's it. And the only action sequence that you could consider anything remotely close to action is Dracula picking up Renfield with one hand.
Yes.
He, like, lifts him up. And that's it. And then it cuts to later Renfield falling down a bunch of stairs. So, like, any Disney movie she watches is more violent, like
easily,
horribly more violent, than anything that occurs in that movie. So, but it's just it is funny to me. But that's a good one, The Beast. Do you remember when you got over it?
I don't know. I mean, probably in a year or two, because it remained my favorite movie as a kid for quite a while. So I think I kind of broke that fear by just watching it so much.
Yeah,
I loved it. That was the first VHS I ever owned.
Ooh, a good one. A good one. I don't know what the first VHS I ever owned was. I remember my first DVD, but not my first VHS.
What was the DVD?
Existed. First DVD was Air Force One.
Nice.
And Citizen Kane.
Nice. Wow.
Package on my eighth grade graduation. That's when I got them. Pretty sure those were the ones.
I was going to ask who gives Citizen Kane to an 8-year-old, but
my mom.
Eighth grade. Well, okay.
My mom.
To an 8th grader is more understandable. If you were going to say like my 8th birthday, I had questions.
No, but actually, I will lead into my first one, considering my mom and things that I'm scared of. There's sometime around the age of 9, my mom decided that it would be a good idea to sit us all down and watch Psycho.
Oh my gosh!
And so she's like, "You have to be." My mom's thing was like, "You have to be exposed. You have to be exposed to good works of art, good cinema. You know, like whatever the Monet paintings, like the lily pads were in Boston." She's like, "Let's go." We're like, "Who's Monet? Doesn't matter. Let's go."
Cool. That's
cool. So
yeah.
that's just that shit, and I love that because that's like people talk about like, "Oh, I'll never make it to Paris to see them," and I'm like, I saw them when I was a kid, and I actually remember them. Like,
yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
just because she took us, it was awesome, and so like, so we went to go, see so anyway, yeah, so we watched Psycho,
and
I would
at home.
Oh yeah, at home. Yeah, but I was probably somewhere between 9 and 11. That's like that would be my different, like somewhere in there.
Sure.
If you watch it, it's like it's really tame by modern horror standards. But when you're not exposed to anything horror, horrifying. It's a terrifying movie. And up until I would say maybe last year was the time I stopped checking behind shower curtains to see if anybody was hiding.
Yes.
That movie has left an indelible mark in my soul about the shower. It just has.
Now, because I also, like, sure, I think everyone who's aware of Psycho has that thought at some point, right? The creepy thought of like the intrusive thought of like, what if there's somebody right there? But what do you think it was that why did you get over it now? What was it that caused that?
As a person nearing 40?
Yes.
I'm not sure, actually.
I mean, why when you're nearing 40 than when you were nearing 30? Or, like what is it? Is it being a parent?
I lived alone through the latter half of my 20s. I wasn't married yet. Yeah. So, like, you're alone. So you automatically have this heightened sense of insecurity and safety. And so I think maybe having a child, just like you don't have time to think if what someone might like an unrealistic thought of someone hiding behind the shower curtain when you decide to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Doesn't because you just got to get in and out of there as fast as possible to go back to your kids. So
sure.
I think that's what actually did it. That's what cured me.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good, I'll accept that. I'll accept that explanation. Yeah.
All right. You go.
Okay. So, are you familiar with, so there was a show, on PBS that was called, it was an old one. It was like from before my time, but they were still showing reruns of it. It was called Becky's Barn, I think. Very, it was kind of an obscure one, but it was the kind of thing with there's like some human characters and like some puppets and people in like costumes as like as animals or whatever. And it was all like this thing that took place on a farm. I remember seeing it as a kid and being like freaked out by the puppets and by some of the costumes and stuff, and it being like with regular people and them not acknowledging how weird it all looked. It had this creepy look of being like from the 80s, so like it looked a little old. It looked a little
like
yes, and like the video quality looked old, and so that adds to like the creep factor of it a little bit, like looking aged and looking like not quite present day. And yet I remember that at the end of the show they would say, send away to this address for a coloring book, and I sent away, and they actually sent me the coloring book, which was
wow, not
wild.
a scam. Amazing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was, I was like, even as a kid, I was like, I mean, this show probably this is old. Like they probably aren't still doing this, but I'm gonna send it anyway. And it did. And that was when my mom taught me the word perseverance. Wow. She was like, wow, you persevered and you got what you came for. See, like good. That's perseverance is a good thing. And I was like, cause coloring books, got it.
All right. That was a good one. All right. This is a book. We were speaking about Dracula earlier. I have 2 Draculas on here actually. But one of them, do you remember the Great Illustrated Classics?
Oh, loved them.
Yes, right. Amazing. For those of you who don't know, you can Google them. They were just rewritten, retold, abridged versions of classic books.
Yes.
Hardback books. They had amazing cover art.
Yes.
Some great stuff, and they had pictures on every other page, every couple of pages. Whatever.
Yeah.
And we had tons of them. And I had a Dracula one, and I remember sitting in my room reading it. And Jonathan Harker is searching the castle for Dracula's coffin after he realizes that he's a prisoner and Dracula's crawling on the outside of the wall and all this stuff. And I was so creeped out. I remember putting it down and I never went back to it. I was like Joey in like putting The Shining in the freezer, where it was like, I just need to not be near this ever again. And that was the first time I was ever creeped like probably one of the first times I was ever really creeped out by a book. There was a scary stories to tell in the dark, or Aren't You Afraid of the Dark, or what was one of those scary, like the horror books for kids that had short stories in them. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Is it not Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No, that was a show.
That was a show. Okay.
I will use my one lookup.
Yeah.
Actually, for that. But there was a short story in there about like a kid like sneaking into the zoo at night afterwards, and they were like, a scientist was like doing experiments on animals, turning them into human animal hybrids, and they like turned the kid into one, and that was horrifying. That was also horror. So those are my 2 like books can be scary. Your imagination really can get you.
Sure.
And I love that because now I have like every Stephen King book ever back there, plus a whole bunch of others. I teach Frankenstein, like
right.
I got over it, but
sure.
But I like a good scare in a book. There's something really thrilling about it.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I did love those Great Illustrated Classics. That I don't know if I would have gotten through like Dickens at a young age without Great Illustrated Classics.
Totally not. Absolutely not. And by
A Christmas Carol specifically was the one.
I was thinking by Dickens. Do you mean like now?
No. Now I would listen to the audiobook and I would love it. In fact, I should do that. I should listen to A Christmas Carol in December.
I do it every year. It's awesome.
You listen to the Patrick Stewart one?
There's a Patrick Stewart one that's really good. The Tim Curry one is really good. And the Hugh Grant one is also good.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Probably my least favorite of the 3.
Sure.
But they're all good. And Patrick Stewart has like a real affinity for A Christmas Carol. Like he did a one-man show.
Yeah.
Carol on his own dime, like, and went around. So that's the one where you feel like he's really in there. He gets it. But they're all good. All good. Your turn.
Do you remember the you remember Gulliver's Travels? Did you ever see
I do.
Did you ever see the cartoon? The Max Fleischer, as a matter of fact, made a cartoon of Gulliver's Travels a couple of years before he made Superman.
If I saw it, I might go, "Oh yeah, that's the one I've seen." But there's a few out there.
You might if you did. Yeah, you might if you saw it. But it's very well animated. I've since watched it again, like as an adult, and been able to appreciate, like, okay, it has that same very similar to Superman cartoons, like style of animation, rotoscoped, like very true to life, high quality. But it was released, I think it was like the first feature for whatever studio, I guess Paramount, after the success of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They're like, wow, we can do a full animated feature. Like, let's take other fairy tales and like old stories and turn them into
they went with Gulliver's Travels.
With Gulliver's Travels.
All the fairy tales out there. We went for this satire about the British government. Let's do it. Like, okay.
Yep. That's what they did. So yeah, it's very good, but as like a 7 or 8 year old, it was the little people were so scary, and the idea of them tying him down, and like 100 duck-sized horses or whatever running around, like that idea really like took hold for me as like so creepy, that like, oh my gosh, like what if they come out from under my bed tonight and they tie me down, like they're little but they can overpower me, like that idea was so like, it gets your imagination running, and in a scary way.
That's a good one. It's like something that like really shouldn't have been scary, but yet it was. I love when that happens. This one, I'm sure, like, it's not supposed to, I would say, is not supposed to be necessarily scary. Oh, by the way, the book is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 of them, so I'm not sure which one it was, but I'm pretty sure it was one of them.
Got it.
But this is supposed to, it's definitely supposed to be creepy, but maybe not in the way that it has lived with me forever. But it's the 3 good fairies going into Maleficent's castle in Sleeping Beauty.
Yep.
Like the Tchaikovsky's like like that is anxiety incarnate for me. It's like that's what anxiety feels like, and I can still feel it when I watch it today. Like, obviously I know what's going to happen, but like the music starts and they're like, at the castle, Philip, and then they go, like, that's it. Like my chest gets tight, and I can like feel like I can have a real visceral reaction to it, and I have ever since I was a kid, and it's just bonkers. That's like, but there's just something so mesmerizingly haunting about all of it. I can't unravel myself from it.
That is a really interesting one. That's because, like, I can totally see how that was.
It's the same feeling I get. It's the same feeling I got but to a lesser extent, when I watched Robin Hood, Disney's Robin Hood, when I was a kid. And when they were going 3 o'clock and all is well, and Robin and Little John are sneaking into the castle. Same feeling. There's something about sneaking in the castle in the middle of the night.
Yeah, wow, that's
it's just a triggering, horrifying thing.
Much like Quicksand, it's the kind of thing you thought you were going to be doing a lot more of in adulthood, and then just never really.
Yeah, exactly. Well, between that and then like Jonathan in the castle searching for Dracula, and I have this like weird thing with castles, I guess.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I just didn't realize that until this moment right now. What a breakthrough! I'll have to tell my therapist.
There you go. I'm glad we could do that for you.
How was your week? Well, I found out I'm actually afraid of castles. So how's your week going?
Nice.
Yeah. So anti-capitalist that way, I guess. I don't know. So give me another one.
That's it. That's all the things I'm afraid of. I'm a very brave person, and I've never been afraid of anything else. No, you know what? Actually, you mentioning Robin Hood reminds me of between that and the Sleeping Beauty, a lot of it's cartoon, I'm realizing, and as I think back, but I've always found like the dragon in Sleeping Beauty to be as scary as a like that sequence actually, like the the fire, like the way the fire spreads and everything was very, very. I remember being very like taken in by it and very invested in the story, and very like scared of the fire and the dragon in particular. But in Robin Hood, I was always nervous about the when he's panhandling, getting like caught by the sheriff. Yeah.
Really? Like,
yeah.
just like
I was nervous for him. Like, you reminded me of this wasn't was this like a scary thing? No, but you reminded me of that with
you're nervous for them. That's a real thing. I have some things that I was legitimately scared of. Since we're running out of time,
sure.
If you don't have more. I have a few.
Hit me.
I was scared of the broken appliances in the dump in the Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, okay.
The scene is horrifying. If you've never watched the Brave Little Toaster, go to YouTube and watch that scene. It is scary now.
Mm-hmm.
Now it is scary. I was a comic book. I had a comic, a Marvel comic, what if comic, where they like take like, what if Captain America was actually Russian or whatever, like things like that. And this was issue 88, 1996. Spider-Man, Peter Parker gets bit by a spider, but doesn't get spider powers. He just transforms into a giant spider. And it's really like macabrely presented, and it really like I couldn't read it as a kid. Like it was too much for me. Used to go to Blockbuster, the good old days.
Yes.
And like when you're walking through the aisles, you're like action, and all of a sudden you end up in horror.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, hey, this is, and so
too far, back up.
And like, but all the covers would be kind of mesmerizing in their own way. And so they would attract you, and you're like, what is this? I want to know. I want to look at the back. But there was a cover for a few things. One, Pinhead from Hellraiser creeped me out. I still haven't seen a Hellraiser movie.
Oh, wow.
Through it. Like there's something about the pins in the head. I'm not
sure.
Not interested.
Yep.
But there was a Friday the 13th movie. It was Jason Goes to Hell or Jason in Hell or whatever it is. But it's like the hockey mask with this like weird demon slug worm thing coming out of the eyes. And it was gross and I hated it, but I kept going back and looking at it like over and over and over again. And this like, it was almost like real, like people who slow down for car accidents. It was like one of those I should look away, but I can't. And I want to, and that I still have images of that in my head, and that along with Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola's film,
yes,
which I cited to my wife as one of the only movies that to this day still legitimately scares me. Like the opening sequence of that film, there's something about the way he films it, the silhouettes, but also the music is just it's just like it gets into your soul, and you're like, this is actually what evil sounds like, just so you're aware. Here it is, like here it is for you. And I just like it just lingers in me. I will watch it though.
Oh yeah, sure,
really good, but it like same that same anxiety is right there.
Meanwhile, your daughter's next to you like, oh, that Dracula, he's hilarious.
That Dracula, he's funny, he's hilarious,
he's a hoot.
He is funny. He likes puns. I never drink wine. It's a good pun. Last one I will leave off. I don't know if I ever told you the story. I was in the grocery store with my mom. I was a kid, 1998, I think, somewhere around there. So I was 10, 11. Maybe it was even earlier than that. I don't know. Did you use your lookup yet?
I have not.
Do me a favor. Look up when the movie Wolf, starring Jack Nicholson, came out.
Okay. So
there was an image of Jack Nicholson on a cover magazine. It was just Jack's face, being Jack, creepy just by smiling.
Yes.
And I think I had definitely seen Batman at that point, and so like I knew who Jack Nicholson was, even like among probably other things, even.
Sure.
And so I asked my mom what what were they talking about in the magazine, and she looked and she was like, oh, he's in a new movie called Wolf, in which he transforms into a werewolf. And that was it. That's all I needed to have a nightmare that night. Like, that's it. And I had an extraordinarily vivid nightmare that I still remember to this day.
Really?
It's like night circus, night fair type thing.
Ugh.
And we couldn't find my brother, and we looked up and he's on this like giant like Pride Rock style like kind of like cliff edge, and he was transforming into a werewolf, and he like it was very cinematic, like he like howled in the moon, and then like he chased us all through the fairgrounds and whatever. It was like objectively a really entertaining like little short horror movie for my subconscious.
Sounds like an adventure, at least.
True. But I remember being terrified and waking up and like wanting to go to my parents' room, like you jump in the bed and whatever, but you had to cross the stairway from my room to get to their room, and our stairway growing up had 2 walls on it, so you couldn't see down in or anything like that. Truly terrifying. I still remember like jumping over basically like the doorway opening to make it inside, but good stuff. Still haven't seen the movie. Won't do it. I'm pretty sure it's a comedy. Like it's not even a real movie, but it's okay.
Well, comedies are not real movies. Wow.
No, I mean it's not a real horror movie. Sorry.
Yeah. It is from 1994.
Oh, okay. All right. So I was much younger than I.
Yes.
I wasn't 10 or whatever.
But this cast is insanely good. Okay, so you've got directed by Mike Nichols.
Really?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mm.
So 2 Batman alums.
Mm-hmm.
James Spader, Richard Jenkins, Christopher Plummer, David Hyde Pierce. Like this is
that's a stacked cast. What's the classification on it?
And the music was composed by Ennio Morricone.
What?
Like
what?
Yeah.
This is a hidden gem of a movie. If there ever was one, I wonder if it's bad. Like,
I don't know. It's called a romantic horror, is how they categorize it. And yeah, wow. This is David Schwimmer has a small role. Wow.
94, so it's just like at the beginning of Friends.
Right at the beginning of Friends. Yeah, he might have shot it before.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it. I solved it. I'm gonna say that this is it. This is the moment.
Oh my gosh, they filmed it in New York, New York City, Long Island, and Old Westbury Gardens is a place that it's like an old mansion on Long Island that I've been to. And they use that for the exteriors of that's so interesting. Cool. Fun facts.
Fun facts indeed.
Fun facts.
Frank,
fascinating.
Lay down some more fun facts, like where people can find us.
Some fun facts for you are you can find us at beerwithgeeks.com. You can email us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. You can find us anywhere that you get your podcasts, including now YouTube. And you can rate and review us in all those places. And you can support us at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. Please hit that like and subscribe button here if you're watching us on YouTube. Got to get used to saying that now. And yeah. Look forward to hearing what was your scary media that scared you, even if it wasn't horror. Let us know in the comments down below.
Right on. Frank, it was wonderful to see you as always. So happy Halloween. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.